Hello, Jason here from 6083, and as promised, today we're going to talk a little bit about the layout of the game manuals, but in more depth than the short video that I put up on TikTok and Instagram. So we're going to do that not with the hard covers though, we're going to do it with the soft covers because they're a little bit easier to flip through. So we're going to set these aside, even though they're pretty. And we're going to work with just these manuals here. All right, so I've already talked about the basic features of the manuals, but I kind of wanted to have time to go into it in a little bit more depth and not be so rushed because, on TikTok and Instagram, you got to keep things brief. But I figure if you're here on YouTube, then maybe you really want to know about the books and you'd like something longer. So, we only have 2 out of 3 of the books today because the Alliance market is still en route. It hasn't showed up yet. And all of these are printer's proofs, meaning that they represent the final product, but there might be some errors or things that need to be fixed. And so before I say, well, this is the final definitive version, I have to make sure that everything's good. So these are just proofs, but they are representative of the final product. They just may have some errors in them. All right, so let's look real quickly at the layout of the books. And the layout is similar across all 3 books. And to play the 6083 system, you need all 3 books. Now, what that means is that you could have the printed versions or you could have the PDF versions because the PDF versions are essentially the same as the printed versions. They're just not as pretty. There is some additional content in the printed versions, but the PDF versions are still a complete version of the game. So, and they're completely free and they're available right now on DriveThruRPG as well as the 6083 website. So, but these are the printed versions, and this is a softcover version, which is full color. The hardcover version is also full color, of course, but it's premium color, so it looks a little bit prettier. Pages are just a little bit thicker, feels just a little bit nicer. But I tell you, for your money, this is probably the best value. I am not going to make any more or less whether you get the hardcover or the softcover version, but I will tell you the hardcover version, you will pay a little bit extra for that, and that's because of the printer. That's not me. But these soft covers are pretty enough, and let's take a look at the features. All right, so let's look at the table of contents real quickly. Each book has one. I prefer single pages of contents or table of contents, and the reason for that is that I don't like flipping through multiple pages to find something. I feel like that's what an index is for, and there is an index in each of the manuals as well. But this table of contents will get you where you need to go. It's certainly detailed enough to do that. In each of the books, well, not the Alliance Market, but in the Player's Manual and in the GM's Manual, you're going to see one red item in the table of contents. And it's referenced, but essentially this is for if you've never played a tabletop role-playing game before, you really want to go here first. But the game is going to tell you that as you read through it. The Player's Manual is laid out to guide a new player through character creation. It's designed to tell you a little bit about the 6083 universe, and then it'll also handle all of your character advancement throughout the game. This is probably what I would recommend a player to get first. A GM, this would probably be better for you, but regardless of what you get, let's say if you can only afford to get one of them, you're still going to be able to pick up the other ones for free anyway. So get what you can get, but I would say if you're a player, definitely pick up this first because this is going to have a lot of the information that you're going to need. It's going to be with you every game session, so it's always going to be pertinent. The GM's manual is going to be great for GMs. There's a lot of lore in here and a lot of world building items to help GMs, create adventures and things like that. So if you're a GM and you're looking for a first book to get, this is probably the one to get. And unfortunately I don't have the Alliance Market here yet, but that one everybody's going to want, has all the gear in it. So ultimately, you should probably pick up all three if you're going to play the game seriously. I would tell you that all three soft covers together are still cheaper than a lot of games, the printed versions. And of course, you could play them for free right now. So it's up to you, really. And if you're a collector, if you're like me, you just got to have the best version of something, then these hardcovers can't be beat. But they are going to be a little bit more expensive. All right, I've rambled on enough about this. All right, so let's go back to the table of contents. Throughout the books, the game tells you this, but throughout the books, you're going to see a couple of recurring themes. The first is purple text. And purple text, especially if it's blocked in, is going to be lore. So if you see one of these here, this is going to tell you something about the world of 6083. Sometimes, like in this case, it's going to tell you something about game development, but it's always going to be lore related. Now, if you see yellow text that's highlighted, or if it's italicized, that's going to be important information that I think you need to know as a GM or a player. And a lot of times it's going to be for examples. So if you see something here that says, for example, this is a specific example of something that we've just been talking about. And I think that's super important in a game, because there's too many times in a game that maybe the designer, because they've been playing it for years, just assumes that you know what they're talking about, but you don't. But I think that's really important. And so there's a lot of examples in this book to make sure that you understand what you're doing. 6083 is really not all that complex, but I come from the Army, and the Army says it's important to have specific examples and demonstrations of techniques and things like that. And you know what? If it works, it works. And so you're going to get a lot of examples in 6083. All right, something else you're going to see. You're going to see these tabs on the side. These are quick reference tabs, just the same as if you would put tabs in a book like many GMs and players do. These are for the major sections of the book, and they'll help you navigate to it quicker. They're also color-coded, and they're positionally coded, meaning that for people that may have trouble seeing in different color spectrum, positionally they're always going to be different, even if it's a little different. And that's just to aid people with sighted issues to help them navigate the books as well, because these books are designed for easy navigation and easy reading. In line with that, you're going to see that block text is always broken up into smaller paragraphs. I don't like big walls of text because it's easy to get lost in there. And it's just easier if you can kind of break that up, and that way you can find what you're looking for quickly. Also, you'll notice that it's single column and not double column. I personally really dislike double column layout. And for me, it's because it reminds me of a textbook, and I think that you should be having fun, and not that learning isn't fun, but playing a game also should not be a chore. And so I specifically have made this single column text. I think it's easier to read. That's my personal opinion. It may not be yours, but that's okay. But this is what you get. Also, you're going to see these footers on the bottom. Now, while these tabs on the side will get you to major sections, not everything is tabbed out, but everything does have a footer. So on the bottom of every page, you're going to see, if you flip open anything, it's going to tell you immediately which section that you're in. So that should aid in navigation just a little bit more. In addition, each book has a full set of the game's tables. 6083 does not have a ton of tables. It has about 10 pages of tables, and it's divided up pretty evenly in between personal combat and then vehicle combat. And vehicle combat includes things like spaceships and ground vehicles and things like that. So it's the same system, but there's two sets of tables, and the vehicle tables are coded a different color as well. These are specifically for the vehicle combat in the game. So, and then let's go a little bit further. In the player's manual, you'll have this player's handout, and it's specifically for combat because 6083 does have a little bit of a different system than other games. And so this is just designed to ease a new player into understanding what they need to do on their turn. And it also includes their basic issued weapons so that you don't have to go look up those stats. And then in the player's manual specifically, you'll have the two full sets of character sheets. One is the old school version, and one is the newer version of the character sheets. And these, of course, they can be replicated. I would tell you, though, if you've got an internet connection, just go to the 6083 website and download character sheets, because it's a lot quicker than trying to crease the book open and throw it on a printer. But if that's all you've got, it's here for you. Now, a note on character sheets. This is the new version of the character sheet. The older version is also here. And you notice it's very simplistic. Well, the reason for that is because the original 6083 characters were mainly on notebook paper. And so this is designed in the same way. It's very simple. If you didn't have a character sheet and you didn't have access to a copier or anything, you could take notebook paper and just replicate what you see here. Quickly make a character sheet in, I don't know, under 30 seconds. So, but these are here if you need them. And then finally, you've got the index. Now, if you're looking for something specific in the books, the index will get you to the exact page number of the thing that you're looking for. And that holds true across all three books as well. If you have the PDF versions, the PDF versions are bookmarked and hyperlinked as well. So navigation is probably even easier in the PDF version. So what's different in between the printed versions and the PDF versions? Well, for one, the PDF versions are black and white. There's a few color pieces in there, but they're predominantly black and white. And you'll see that in the printed versions, you have this nice background here. This does not appear in the PDF. It's just black and white. The PDFs are designed to be printer friendly. So if you want to print them out and make your own locally produced manual, you certainly could do that with no problem. But they're just designed to be printer friendly. So there's that. In the player's manual, in the printed version, there are two different character classifications that do not appear in the PDF version. The reason for that is that these are a little bit more advanced. This unit, the striker unit, does not appear in the PDF version. This is a flying unit, and so it's a little bit more complex because as a beginner character, and maybe as a for brand new GMs, this might be a little bit more difficult to adjudicate than some of the other character classifications. And when I say classifications, this is 6083's term for race. So you can think of these as races. And of course, this is a synthetic version, which is essentially it's a robot. So, but this is not available in the PDF version. And also, oops, I went too far. I was the opposite direction. there's another classification that is not available in the PDF version, and that's the Draken. So, so these don't appear, and that's really it. Their absence in the PDF version will not change your game experience. They're just extra for those that are willing to invest in the books. And of course, if you're getting the books, everything is in full color, and the presentation is just a little bit better, I think. So that's the main difference in between the PDFs and the printed versions. For the GM's manual, it's a little bit more than that. It's a bigger book. Again, you've got the full color presentation, but when it comes down to the codex, there's 2 versions of the codex in this book. One of them is the main codex, and this just concerns game lore, and it explains a lot of different things that you might have questions about. But then there's the Stellar Codex, and the Stellar Codex has a lot of your locations in the game, and it is greatly expanded in the printed version. You still get a Stellar Codex in the PDF version, in the free version, but this version in particular, the printed version, in both the softcover and the hardcover, they're far more extensive. There's a lot more information there. There's a lot more locations to be found there. So that's a huge benefit of getting the printed version of this particular book. And that's why I would recommend that if you wanted to invest in, if you were not looking to invest in all of the books at once, if you're a GM, this is probably a good one to get. And then probably the player's manual after that, because it does have some additional information. And then after that, the Alliance Market. It is going to be by far the most expensive book because it's the largest. However, there is no difference in between the PDF version and the printed version as far as content. Now, presentation, that's different, because all the artwork in the printed version, of course, is color. The weapons and the equipment and all the gear and the spaceships, everything is in color. And it does make quite a bit of a difference, at least in my opinion. So, but content-wise, they're the same. I really didn't want anybody accusing me of making the Alliance Market a pay-to-win thing. Like, hey, you get these extra weapons and gear that you can't get in the regular version of the game. So, if you want to excel, get the printed version. I didn't want to be accused of that. So it's the same. But again, the printed version is just going to be much prettier. So, but that's the basic layout of all 3 books. And kind of wonder if I should have just done all 3 of them at once. But you know what? I owe you guys a video, and here it is. We'll definitely look through the Alliance Market when it comes in. So I think I've talked long enough about this. I think the next time that we talk about book layout, that we'll go through the player's manual first and talk about the features of the player's manual in depth. And then the video after that will probably go through the GM's manual and talk specifically about what's in the GM's manual, like section by section. And then, of course, once we get the Alliance Market, we'll do an unboxing, and then we'll do a page through of that as well. So anyway, I hope this helps. I'm super excited. If you listened and watched this long, I'll tell you the game is getting very close to having everything released. And I'm super excited for it. I hope you are too. For all of those of you that do support 6083, I appreciate you, and I cannot wait to share with you what's coming next. All right, well, thank you very much, and thanks for sticking with me, and you have a great day. Bye.